This is the Aftermarket Radio Network. It's Carm Capriotto. We're recording this in the AAPEX 2023 studio. And in the studio here with me is Craig O'Neill and Matt Fanslow. I don't know how I convinced Tracy convinced
This
me.
is like oil and water.
I mean, come on, Trace. I can't believe you said, why don't you just sit down with Craig and Matt with no agenda and see what happens. So
You got to be careful what you wish for.
I know. And so there's really a reason. We've just recently released a brand new podcast on the Aftermarket Radio Network hosted by Craig O'Neill.
Hey.
Yes. Welcome to the team.
Oh, thank you. This is exciting.
So we figured that there was no one better to welcome you than, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know about that decision.
There was no one better?
So were you coached up before this at all? Like, did you do any research? Did you ask any other members of ARN before you made this decision? Or
Well, they said Matt could do it, so I figured.
no, that part, yeah. You don't understand the filtering that goes on for my episodes.
Oh.
So I don't know. There's like, 4 others. Their episodes, they send them in, and I don't know. They maybe tweak a little bit, add some music, and then it's good.
Okay.
Mine, I think, if I submit it on time, which is like the day before release, they have to stay up all night editing out swear words and
First of all,
ahs
please do not listen to him. Those are not the way we have to do it.
Really? So
We put up with him, and then we have to scold him. We have to sit him down and say, son, let me remind you. And then he gets back on track for 2 or 3 months, and then he floats away.
weeks, days, weeks.
Yeah. It's Tracy who's shaking her head, saying, oh.
You ever saw the making of a South Park episode?
no.
That's the making of a Matt Fanslow podcast.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have homework.
Yeah. Oh, my. Please, whatever you learn here today, forget it the minute you leave.
So I'm learning that Tracy makes everything sound better.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah.
Yes, she does, including you, Matt.
I think I helped her craft her abilities. I think I really took her from whatever entry level to mastery in a matter of 2 episodes.
Pretty damn confident, huh?
No, I'm incompetent. She had to become competent.
Okay.
Looking to take your shop to the next level of quality service, team culture, and overall profitability? At the Institute, we provide personalized coaching that aligns with your goals of financial stability, excellent customer service, and employee satisfaction. Our priority is helping you establish significant and sustainable progress. We work with you to create strategies that reduce the stress of running your business, improve your quality and performance, and optimize your profitability. Experience the benefits of professional coaching by visiting wearetheinstitute.com/business-assessment. Hey friends, as you know, I'm a proud member of the AutoFlow team, and let me tell you, we've changed how business is done for auto shops everywhere. We support your client experience before, during, and after the work is done. Imagine this. Timely updates sent directly to your clients, branded digital vehicle inspections, and seamless communication from start to finish. That's why shops love AutoFlow. And hey, with those 5-star reviews rolling in, you'll wonder how you ever managed without us. Take an important next step and take your auto shop to the next level. Visit www.autoflow.com. Get on board with an AutoFlow trial. Are you ready to meet your perfect auto repair shop management software partner? Well, say farewell to the days of transactional relationships and hello to a true partnership that elevates your business. The #1 all-in-one solution is AutoLeap. You're not just getting software, you're gaining a dedicated ally committed to your success. AutoLeap will help you sell more, save time, and delight your customers at every turn. From scheduling appointments to creating estimates, generating invoices, managing technicians, and seamlessly syncing with QuickBooks to keep your records updated. Experience the difference a true partnership makes. Visit Autoleap.com and book a demo today. Autoleap, your trusted partner for success. You know what I appreciate about my friend Jeremy Glasgow, founder of AppFueled? It's his passion specifically his passion for helping shops convert clients to members. What's the difference, you ask? Jeremy can tell you. Members visit and make necessary purchases more often and more confidently. Any shop can become proficient with creating a membership base using AppFueled. Get started today by visiting appfueled.com and build your first app like a pro. Want to see your auto repair shop thrive? Are you looking to drive more customers to your auto repair shop? Let ShopDog Marketing be your guide. Our customer-first approach, combined with AI-driven creative content, ensures top rankings. Dominate mobile first and voice search with our specialized expertise. Reach out to ShopDog Marketing today and start growing your business. Don't miss out on this chance to boost your business. Visit shopdogmarketing.com.
Hey, what's your podcast going to be about?
Well, this is about communication and leadership. So I think that it's going to be a relevant addition to this lineup already. We're going to focus on the things that we focus on, like at Toastmasters. We started the club. I think that's going good. I think Matt should join.
I do too.
I think Toastmasters, and I'm thinking like 2-piece or 4-piece.
Well, my first Toastmasters meeting, I thought maybe there'd be some plastic cups with wine, and they will be practicing actual toasts and like cheers, right? And there was none of that. So, but there was some really impressive people that were able to communicate a very clear message, and I think that that is something that this industry has not always been great at. I think most of the time we have image problems in this industry, as you well know, as the diagnostic expert. Communicating those things are
the
challenging.
industry has image problems. I have image problems.
Yeah, and diagnosing communication problems, as you also know, is very, very difficult.
We spend most of our money fixing your image problem.
Yeah. Right.
Yes.
That's Photoshop, and then communication issues that I'm used to. I'm looking at, physical layers. I don't know if there's that for your type of communication, what the physical layers are there.
Sure. No, the things I always try to, I found I've just become very passionate about this topic. I feel like there's a lot of wonderful, wonderful people full of brilliant concepts. I'm coming from transmission, as you know, my brother,
Yes.
right? He's a skilled rebuilder.
He's my
skilled
favorite
expert.
O'Neill.
Yeah, of course. No, he's everyone's favorite. I wouldn't know half of you if it wasn't for him. Like, he was going and networking and starting
It
to
goes Sean, Jeremy, no relation.
Well, Jeremy spells his name different.
He spells it wrong.
I know. Yeah, one L.
I'll talk to him.
Yeah.
I think I seen him bouncing around over here.
I've seen him. Sean's the one that pulled me into this stuff. Like, his brilliance was from a technical side. I was isolated. I thought, like a lot of shops did, I thought that the way I was raised and the way I did things was the way to do things. And when we are an island unto ourselves, I mean, that's no place to stay. And he did. He got us out of that mold, and he got us going into this stuff. And I found that through networking, through communication, there's a lot more avenues that we can go down.
But you grew up in the family biz, which you would think communication might be a little coarse, but it would occur at a
passionate.
But you would think it would occur more often, and I'll just say better than most repair shops that nobody's related. But is that true?
Our family, like, we came up, my grandpa was one of 3 guys that could rebuild transmissions in Grand Rapids. He started that, and he had this attitude and ego that goes into this. And attitude and ego were actually a big part of our layer of communication and our identity. So for me, getting out of that ego first was the most important thing. And I don't think like we had this identity from a technical side of things, but we never, we were good at communicating on a relationship level with our clients. We weren't really good at communicating the essence of the industry, why it's a powerful thing that we are friends with this shop, that shop, or this guy or the other guy. And we started doing this radio show. Sean was on a radio show with Al Schwinkendorf from Burberg's Automotive in Grand Rapids, Michigan. So Pat, my grandpa, was doing that radio show. It was a call-in radio show. People would just call in and talk car problems. And I used to take issue with it at one layer, because they're out there doing call-in radio shows, and here they are, they're both expert diagnosticians, and they're trying to diagnose things over a call, right? And it's like, well, the best thing about it was they were really tactful on it. They learned how to communicate. They knew, if we are trying to do a radio show that's a call-in radio show, we're going to talk through diagnostic problems and try to give people an idea of what it is. We also need to balance that out with what we know has to happen when that vehicle actually comes in for real assessment. And watching all of this stuff, there's like this evolution as I watch my whole career, Sean doing things, me doing things, my grandpa doing things, everyone's trying to find this path to communicating the professionalism of this industry. I don't know. It's complicated, but I feel like a focus on it is the thing that we haven't done. We've just been stumbling along together, getting frustrated together, and making the hard lessons. I feel like the hard lessons shouldn't be the only lessons that we have.
When we started to talk about the idea of creating this podcast together, we were on a Zoom call and we were throwing like 30, 40 different topics out and they were all so good because of the front of office, back of office, top down, bottom down leadership, family, life, friends.
So much.
We need communication. We need to be better communicators, period. And that's what the podcast is about.
It's not a soft skill. I feel like communication skills are the last time people ever deal with it is in school at some point, probably in a speech class, and they're terrified of it. And they don't put any emphasis on it at any point. And if someone had stopped us and said the way we were communicating in our family, if someone had stopped us and like taught us like, oh no, this is a better way to approach.
Wait a minute, screaming and yelling
doesn't
work? Oh, okay.
I mean, you know, in the family business environments too.
Yeah,
Carm.
I do.
Yeah, it's just
Don't go fishing with Dad.
I'm not stupid. I'm smart. The Godfather scene, so
You
good.
don't have
But no, we're always in this toxic cycle, despite having similar goals, and it was so counterproductive to what we all wanted. So counterproductive.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of fear, just such fear of conflict that probably won't even occur. But just the fear of confronting someone or bringing it up to them. Usually I'm thinking of a superior, the manager, the owner, to ask for a few minutes to talk about something, whether it's an issue in the shop, issue in life. We build up this idea of what's going to happen. It's always worst case scenario. So then we just don't do it.
No, you're in this environment where you're trying to prove yourself constantly. And auto shops are a perfect example of this. Ego is a big driver, especially among some of the best technicians. I mean, no one's had big egos in this business ourselves, right?
I'm certainly not in this room.
No. But to put yourself in a position where you're going to operate with a little less effectiveness is scary. And that's the industry doesn't change. It doesn't evolve. We know this. And every time we start talking about communication, people get scared. When we're talking to shop owners who are afraid to get in front of their team all at once or feel that deep anxiety that comes from group conversations, they start sweating, they're nervous, they default into some habitual forms of communication that are consistently getting no results at all.
Like that Netflix documentary with chimpanzees where the leader kind of just runs through hitting stuff.
Oh, yeah. It's like we were talking about, like the things we bring into this are facts, fear, and force.
Yep.
My grandpa is a perfect example of this. He operated a shop with true fear. Like, customer came in, brought us donuts or something because we did a great job and they wanted to say thank you, and we were eating that, and he came in, like, there's his truck, everyone puts that donut back down and back to work, because the last thing you want is to be seen with this. But that's like what fear does. What happens if there's a different type of motivating factor? So Chris and I, my boss, Chris Cloutier with AutoFlow, one of the things that we talk about in our training is from the book Change or Die by Alan Deutschman. The keys to effective change are relate, repeat, reframe. Relate, repeat, reframe. And that relate part is new emotional relationships, which of course, key component of that is communication. The repeat isn't just repeating your words, but it's actually repetitive tasks until something your old habits go away, new habits are put in place. You need that new emotional relationship to be in there in order to actually keep you encouraged while that repeat phase is going on, because it's hard. It's hard to do things that are new. And then once you're through that and you have the new habits, you have a new frame of mind of which you can now make more effective minor changes.
So that last word is reframe?
Reframe. Yep.
Reframe.
Yeah, because think about frames as your outlook, the frames that you look at things in the world. When we're starting to talk about effective communication, as an example, people don't have the frame mindset of what that looks like in their professional life, in their family life, in the shop at all. And so it's very hard to take the next step. How do we do it?
Yeah.
What do we do? New emotional relations. Connect with the people that are in a Toastmasters club. Go to Toastmasters, practice on a weekly basis, and develop those new skills. And wow, the power that comes from those skills, it's really interesting.
We've been saying a lot lately, course correction.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of reminds me of reframe.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think those are two bad words for our industry to jump on board by saying there's a point where everyone says, oh, what do we do now? We've had these comebacks this week. Well, maybe it's a chance for a course correction.
Yeah.
Not that the whole company has to make a left or a right move, but let's just take some of the things that we were doing, so pull up some policies, pull up some training needs, and let's do a course correct on just this one area.
But we've all been at a point too where I like the course I'm on, and why do you want to make that correction? I don't want to change direction. I am this guy. I do this. So how do we convince that guy?
Yes.
Communication.
I mean, that just reminds me of the recent release with Brian Pollock I did. We're part of that, being in that rut, whatever that is, whatever position you are in a company, you're in your rut. Well, there's a lot of aversion going on, be it risk or loss aversion. And you're back to fear again.
Mm-hmm.
And communication, that's going to be like the umbrella of what your podcast is operating under. And it's a word that gets tossed around all the time to the point where people are almost annoyed to hear the word. But it's this big umbrella of which there's a bunch of stuff that you're going to dive into under it that never gets talked about, right? We got to solve our issues with communication. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like you have to diagnose that. That's a big word. What does that mean? Some people that do it all the time kind of get what you're talking about. If you tell somebody else this vague term, after a while, they're just sick of hearing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're going to be diving into what makes up that word.
Yeah.
Like there's communication, but this is what we're talking about. The fear, whatever biases, almost reptilian brain type stuff. That's the gist of what you're going to get into. And that's the stuff that needs to get talked about, because too many times, whether it's in a classroom or other podcasts, or not just automotive podcasts, just period, they use these big words, they don't dive into it, and they just skim over it, and you get nothing out of it.
Yeah. Yep. No, you got to turn it into a discussion. And like one of the things you mentioned, fear, like it's okay to be afraid of what's coming whenever you're making any change. It doesn't even matter what the change is. Communication, as one example, obviously is something that we'll be focusing on a lot, but whatever change it is, when you start doing something new, your performance dips. It's expected. And educators know this. You all remember Anthony Williams, memory be a blessing. I loved the conversations I could have with him about education elements. And one thing educators I know are typically focused on is this model. It's called the concerns-based adoption model. Like, people have concerns when you're making a change, and this model expects that, like, if you look at it, it's kind of hard to do without a visual, but think of the shape of a check mark. There's where you begin, and then there's this dip as you go through the initial steps of a change. And then there's the turnaround point where you start to improve, and now you're at a higher level of performance than the spot where you began.
They call that the J Curve of Change.
Sure, and that bottom point we call the implementation dip.
That's right.
Yep. And it is a really important model to walk into something and knowing. And I feel like if you recognize, if you got a scared technician or a scared owner, that you're afraid to take the next steps into, embracing new communication skills or whatever it is, when you can show, like, yeah, you're going to go here and it's going to go here first. Set that expectation early, because what you're not going to do is go from here and just immediately improve and have that instant result. It's not like walking off the Snap-on tool truck with a brand new tool that has more teeth in the ratchet that helps you less swing on their immediate impact. This is something that takes time.
I have a story to tell about the J Curve of Change. And that was when I was working for a company that sold. And the executive team found out about the sale of the business. And they gave us 2 or 3 days before we had to go tell our people. And they knew that we had to go to that low pit on the bottom of the curve ourselves as the executive team, and to climb up and out so that we can present to our people, because we couldn't present to them as we were heading down under learning, embracing, and then accepting. And it was brilliant that here it is. We all got through our shock and what's life going to be like? And oh, that's interesting. We never thought we would be at this particular position in our life at this age we're in, all that stuff. We as an executive team got up and over that, then presented to our team and realized they were all going to go through that.
Yep.
Good
and,
point.
And
Great
at
point.
different points too. They all go through it at different times and stages. Some people go through much quicker than others, and being able to identify that for your team is so important. There's a lot to learn in other industries and how they approach these sort of things, and we don't do it in our little shop.
And once people get inside and start listening, they're going to know that I'm getting on board to listen to Craig because he's going to move me. He's going to change my thoughts of not only being a communicator, but learning how to be a better listener.
Yeah. Hey, I love it. I love the time that we're doing this too. You've seen AI coming in everywhere.
Oh,
It's everywhere. Everyone's talking about AI, and it's usually doing what for us right now? More than anything else.
Spell correct.
Yeah, spelled correct. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and people are using it for their websites to create content.
To create content,
Yep.
to say things that they don't know how to write. And so they ask the machine to do it for them because it's doing it better.
Somebody did an episode about this.
yeah.
How it might be making us dumber.
It might be making us dumber. Did I miss an
I
episode?
can't think of it, guys. The
Yeah.
title of the podcast is really long.
Yeah.
Ah, really?
What did you
is it
call
an A
it?
to Z thing? Is it an AI to Z thing?
It was really just, I mentioned AI, I mentioned like database diagnostics and stuff that you just kind of take these skills and they atrophy. So
Yeah.
long term.
Oh no, that's exactly what we're going to be running into. I think there's some great things AI is going to do for us. I really do. But I think that right now it's so funny to me that where we're at this moment is I'm no good at saying things. I want the machine to say it for me. It's like, oh no, like that's the most human skill that we need to have still today is our ability to connect and relate with other people. And what's the first thing we do with the onset of AI? It's now giving us artificial things to say.
Yeah.
It's not even what we're saying. It's
Wow,
some
that
machine.
said that better than I could have.
Okay, so you publish that. You write a blog or a letter or an email, and wow, I had no idea Matt was thinking that deeply when you really aren't.
Right,
You know,
yeah.
you're a superficial thing.
Well, I have a theory on this.
Good, because that's what I want to know.
My theory is that if you don't want to write it, no one wants to read it.
If you don't want to write it yourself, got it. And
Yep.
I can't argue with that at all. And everybody's going to become an expert with AI
Yeah.
on paper, on a content stream, but don't go. They're going to have so much fear being out in public and
Yep.
trying to speak like they write.
Yep.
Oh.
Yep. You're exactly right. That's spot on. And it's going to be inconsistent with what someone else read. And so we've lost authenticity and consistency. That's what we're losing. And we're walking into a whole, like we have this issue with this generation that was raised with smartphones as being bad enough at communicating. Like now we're going to take the burden of learning to communicate well and just put it onto the machine as well. Like this has become such a problem. Let's solve it with more technology. I'm a technology guy. This is something I've gotten into for a long time. And I'll tell you right now, all technology should be doing is helping us connect better, not connect for us. Does that make sense?
That's a rabbit hole, but I agree with the gist of that.
Okay,
100%.
so you
Yeah.
go to ChatGPT, you go to these other, and you get these 3 or 4 paragraphs for this article you want to write.
Sure.
And there's like these $9 words in there. And if you click copy and paste and post, I think you're wrong because if you don't understand those $9 words or you've never spoken them $9 words, you got to turn them to be $5 or $4 words, don't you?
Sure.
Well, it's bad enough to try to talk the way you write when you write it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
It's a skill.
there's stuff I've typed out that I go back and read it and like, I wrote that.
Yep.
You know, like
Oh, yeah.
holy cow.
No, it's a skill. It takes practice and it takes repetition. Repeat.
But that like I wrote that. Those were my words. I didn't even use a thesaurus. And then however long later to talk like that, it's rough. Now you didn't even write it.
Listen, I understand you're kind of being a little facetious here, but can you learn from looking back and saying, I can't believe I wrote that? Do you gain some confidence in the fact that you...
Oh yeah.
Because I think
I'm being a little sarcastic.
I know
but
you
there's
are.
sometimes, I've read something like, I wrote that.
Mhm.
And I know
That'll
other
happen.
people do that.
I
Right?
know exactly what you're saying.
Diaries,
Yeah.
or if they're journaling, they look back a couple of years and, wow, I wrote that.
Yeah.
And some of it's really good. Like, I can't believe I wrote that. That was so stupid. And then sometimes it's like,
Sometimes.
wow, I wrote that. That was really good.
let's talk about journaling, because he just brings up journaling, and we've done episodes on journaling.
Yes.
And I got to tell you, Craig, that could be an interesting theme, because journaling will help you be a better communicator, because what you're trying to do is get the random thoughts that are going through your head for the day, for a particular diagnostics problem, a case study that you're working on, and you just dump it. It doesn't have to be beautiful. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to have $9 words. It just needs to get, if you will, puke it on paper, right?
Yeah, paper is a great strategy for that, because what you need is reflection time, and that's what people don't do. And the journaling
exactly.
will help you focus that into that. I'm more of like a long shower guy.
Well, you
great
got so
thought.
much hair. That's the problem.
That's why it takes so long.
But think about it. You've removed yourself from all the other sensory distractions in the world, and it's just white noise. Yeah, you got it.
Shenanigans.
See, this is perfect, and that's gonna let your mind like decompress. There's some elements that we talked earlier about the book Comfort Crisis by Michael Easter, and I love that we're discussing these sort of concepts too. The technology hasn't been around that long to distract us the way it has, but 3% of the time that humans have walked this earth has technology in the form that we have it today, with smartphones and all the screens and distractions. And it's changing us. It's changing our minds and our ability to pay attention to things. And we're like, and I'm sure we've all experienced it, even in a noisy environment like AAPEX here, all this stuff going around. It's just overwhelming, and you feel fried after being around this much stimulus, especially in a city like Las Vegas. And it's even hard to get your thoughts together sitting in the quiet of a hotel room, and you still have this echo of frustration and noise.
And I'm a note taker. Tracy and I were speaking this morning about how she is becoming more of a note taker because of the sheer amount of incoming.
Yeah, beautiful.
And
yep.
I'm this is going to be more often than I ever talk about episodes I record, because I don't like doing it. Like, okay, I don't. But
You don't like doing the
there's
show?
going to be an episode coming out. No, but there's going to be an episode coming out tomorrow, or not tomorrow, next week.
You're going to do it
with
next
Bob.
week?
But we were talking about Bob Height. We were just talking about this in our episode, about exactly what you just said, with all the stuff going around, and just so much coming in, so many distractions, and then you got phones, social media, and all that.
Yeah.
We need time to try to process that. And he talks about meditation,
Good.
right?
Good.
So
healthy.
this is insane. Just how interconnected all the ARN podcasts are. The subjects weave in and out of each other.
They do.
So
I'm so proud of the team, Craig. We're so happy to have you come
great.
on board, because you're just you're another one of those, if you will, threads that will stitch all of our passion to advance the industry together.
It's going to be exciting.
Yeah.
You guys are saying things well, and we're going to talk about how well you're doing at talking on my episode. We're going to have fun, though. I'm so excited that Matt's my colleague now and coworker.
Yeah.
This is great.
Yeah, I
Be
would
careful
like my
what you
desk
wish
moved.
for.
Can we move my desk?
Yeah.
Well, the first thing I mentioned, I remember your episode of the good, the bad, and the ugly, and you had this awesome rocking chair, just like this nice creaking sound. I've got to get my studio set up for that level.
Nobody talks about my actual content. They just talk about that.
Yeah.
So good.
Damn
Rich.
squeaky rocking chair.
Oh.
So for a podcaster, this guy, he's got the microphone boom hooked to the arm of the rocking chair, right? And when we don't do video, you're in this dark room by yourself.
There's enough daylight at the beginning.
Yeah, and whenever you watch Matt in his video, and he's got this constant back and forth going. The mic and his head never move, but the room is moving.
Yeah,
Is that how?
I'm always moving. Something's always shaking my leg, or feet, or hands fiddling.
First time I was in Toastmasters, they evaluate on pace, and in my mind I was thinking, oh, the walking around stuff that I do, that's evaluated. No, not that kind of pace.
So I encourage you, Craig, to do your show while you're standing up.
Oh yeah, Absolutely. Actually, every webinar I've done, I'm always standing.
Good.
Always. Otherwise, I'm rocking my chair.
That's what I would do.
It just doesn't squeak. So I have to fix that.
We welcome you to the Aftermarket Radio Network, the
Thank you.
new podcast from Craig O'Neill. And I think for the last 15 minutes, we were able to prove why it's going to be such an important show.
Yes.
Good.
Craig O'Neill, Matt Fanslow, thanks for being here, man.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Thanks
Excited.
for coming on.
Thanks.
You've been listening to Speak Up, Effective Communication with Craig O'Neill on the Aftermarket Radio Network. Follow Craig on your favorite podcast listening app and on his YouTube channel. Let him know what you'd like him to speak up about. Craig is all for advancing the automotive service aftermarket.